Hello, and welcome to Effective Evolution. And with this episode, we're going over Triton, a moon of Neptune. And of course, the Voyager 2 spacecraft was the last spacecraft to explore Triton, moon of Neptune, and these images have been elaborated on somewhat, and in particular PIA 02211 and also PIA 12187. And when you look at Triton, you'll probably notice that it is a pretty young surface that's contained mainly of rising blobs, quote, of ice called diapers, and also faults and volcanoes, lava flows, and other ices. And it is similar to Pluto. However, Triton was captured in the gravity of Neptune. So we'll explore this and use some of the probing tools or whatnot and see what detail we can come up with. And of course, lots of credit to JPL and Paul Schenk and company. And let's get right to it. Effective evolution. And today we're exploring Triton, which is a moon of Neptune. And this is the panorama of Triton. Now, this colored panorama of Triton, moon of Neptune, was created with the aid of Voyager 2 at about 2.5 million miles, or about 4 million kilometers in distance. And it was obtained on August 22nd, 1989, and there is a green and also a clear and violet filter that was implemented to obtain this image. And many structures are there that are quite short in appearance, but after you go over it, you'll notice that there are some structures there as well at about 46 miles or 70 kilometers or so. And it's the usual idea that you could notice some very intricate structures here on Triton. And Voyager obtained this in the summer. And of course, I was in August of 1989, the 22nd of August, and this being the summer season in the southern hemisphere of Triton, with the South Pole facing the direction of the sun. And you'll also notice some other intricate patterns, such as this bluish white mark that is prevalent here, and there's also a dark brown color in the northern hemisphere. And it could denote some frost with the bluish white area here. And also the red color could be methane frost that's been radiated and darkened in hue with the radiation. And Mr. Paul Schenk, a scientist at the Lunar Planetary Institute in Houston, is to be given credit for this as well as everyone at JPL and NASA as usual. But you could probably notice some of these features right now. And we'll explore this a bit further, of course. And next, we're adding the contrast and brightness gadgets to Triton. And this is what we get. And you can probably notice some very symmetrical structures initially, and other symmetry and linear patterns all over the place. And you have to ask yourself, well, is this strictly ice material? Or could it be something else? And if it was planned architecture, then that does have implications, of course. And trying to bring out some more detail, we can adjust the brightness and whatnot. And in addition, we could add the fill light and clarity gadget, which is on this editor, and it makes it a bit more bright or whatnot. And are these strictly composed of ice material? Or would it be signs of some type of civilization on Triton? Notice the hues, and these are used to perpetrate various types of filters or whatnot. But there is some detail here with this moon of Neptune, Triton. With regards to some of the written words regarding Triton, we can go over this right here, right now. And Voyager also discovered atmospheric plumes on Triton, making it one of the known active bodies in the outer solar system, along with objects such as Jupiter's moon Io and Saturn's moon Enceladus. Scientists will be looking at Pluto next year to see if it will join this list. They will also be looking to see how Pluto and Triton compare and contrast, and how their different histories have shaped the surfaces we see. Although a fast flyby, New Horizons Pluto encounter on July 14, 2015 will not be a replay of Voyager, but more of a sequel and a reboot with a new and more technologically advanced spacecraft and, more importantly, a new cast of characters. Those characters are Pluto and its family of 5 known moons, all of which will be seen up close for the first time next summer. And there are lots of URLs you can explore as well, of course. This panorama of Triton, the moon of Neptune, PIA 02211. We're adding the infrared instrument to the panorama, and voila. And of course, the infrared device does contain some controls, such as the flare mode and the grain mode and the strength mode. And that's to bring out some more detail with regards to the wavelength of light that's being analyzed with this particular mode. And you can probably discern some more detail, some very vivid symmetrical patterns or whatnot. And we must ask the question, well, how were these created? And again, Is it just the phenomenon of it being ice or whatnot, various types of ices, and could it be a combination of ice and other material or whatnot? But does make you ponder somewhat more. And adding the transformation tools, you can probably pick out some creations here that are somewhat extraordinary. Just notice the spacing of these items here. And if we explore perhaps another combination with the infrared mode, adjusting the flare grain and strength controls, we can get this. This is a somewhat lighter version. However, you can still notice some very amazing patterns here. And the geometry is very controlled. This seems to be a very circular globe or dome-like structure or whatnot. And very peculiar architecture on the landform of Neptune here. And this would be that area which supposedly has a blue-white streak across it. And the other part which is supposed to have radiation causing the color to become darkened or whatnot. There is a very planned design here. And you can probably notice some additional depth, shadows that would hint at some type of conglomeration with regards to these patterns and their unity or whatnot. And this is another version of the infrared mode of PIA 02211 Triton, the moon of Neptune. And there's that circular form here, some type of globe. Could that be some type of observation concoction? And are these, in fact, types of dwelling areas on Titan? Or maybe for manufacturing, mining, and that type of thing? But there are very vivid structures here. And if we add some tint to this panorama along with the infrared combination, hopefully we can bring out a bit more detail. And this is what we get. Suddenly there's some type of pattern that emerges here. And we rotated this around a bit as well. Just notice how these kind of spring out off of the surface. And they're all aligned in patterns, linear, geometrical shapes and designs, shadows that indicate depth. And of course, since Triton is closer to Neptune, i.e. in its gravity, it's, although similar to Pluto, it probably has these structures that are supposedly composed of ices at a low altitude, but if we look carefully here, you can see there is some more detail in here in this topography. However we look at this, there is some symmetry here. Depth. And are these hints of planned creations? And now it's time to zoom into Triton's panorama with PIA 02221, and this is what we have. Now this would be the area with a grid over Triton, hopefully to be able to accurately cover some area of Triton. And we're using the burn tool to bring out shadowy areas here. And this is what we get. And you can notice that there are intricate patterns here. And you could probably notice some that we've gone over already. And in addition, there are some very amazing patterns, such as this pattern here, this triangular pattern here, and spherical pattern here that we've noticed before. And if we adjust the transformation gadgets a bit, hopefully we can come up with some more detail. You can notice that some things pop. Mind you, we are at a quote distance from Triton here, and this is the Voyager 2 spacecraft, of course, attained around 1989. And there are intricate details in here. And this is strictly ice material, of course. It's, you can only imagine, and just notice the forms here. And if these are designed patterns of topological creations or whatnot, then it does imply an advanced civilization being on Triton as well. And there's the sphere that we noticed before. And next we'll incorporate the contrast and brightness gadget. And there is the spherical item we noticed before. Some linear patterns as well, circular patterns. Makes you wish you were a bit closer, but it's the next best thing, supposedly, to be able to speculate on this, quote, relatively young icy surface of Triton. And of course, some of these objects do align with the satellite that's around Triton. So that would imply that they are on the surface of Triton. And aligned in a regular type of fashion. And adding the dodge tool to bring out the lighter areas. This is what we get. And those structures are still there. If we augment it a bit with some more controls here, you can see that with the grid and just the bare topological surface of Triton, there are interesting objects here, interesting patterns of design and symmetry. Just amazing unification of structures. And is there civilization on Triton? Perfectly spherical structures. Could they be observing parts of space from this position on Triton? Pic of Triton, the moon of Neptune, this being PIA 02214. And this is the varmint here. And you could probably notice this very spherical structure already. And just notice this uniform shadow as well, and some channels of some sort here, and various structures in here. And these will come to your attention after you spend some time on it. And is this strictly types of ice? Carbon, silicate, water, ices, or whatnot, and with radiation effects. And even though this is supposedly a very young icy surface, and if we explore this a bit, perhaps we can pop some more areas of detail. And this is a very uniform structure, whatever it is. Is it made of metal? Is it some type of ice? How did it get that shape? And if we explore some sections here, you could probably notice these amazing designs in here. And are these creations of plant nature or whatnot? And are these areas that have been carved into the surface of Triton for some reason? I.e., are they openings to areas under Triton? And is this another uniform globe of some sort? And some other circular rounded objects around here, various geometries. And this is the finished product, that area that we zoomed in on, adding the contrast brightness to it. And are these routes, i.e. tunnel or, quote, roadways on Triton for transportation purposes? Or what exactly could this be? And would it be strictly ice material? And with some other modes of this panorama of Triton, PIA 02214, we get this lighter version, but perhaps we can reveal some more details here. There's our friend, very spherical structure. This is an interesting structure as well. And this other structure that's similar to this, maybe a bit of the same design or whatnot. And these linear patterns of design. If we delve into this area here, maybe we could enclose some other things, but just look at that design there. And that was that area we noted before. It looks so circular now from this angle. It seems to have a different type of form now that we look at it from this side. Looks like some type of opening in there. Another spherical structure here. It was right here. And hexagonal structure here. And with the infrared version now, this is what we get. Various patterns of design in here. It's somewhat more detailed, as you can always expect with the infrared mode. And now this structure here seems to have more detail. Our sphere seems to have a more shiny gleam to it here. The shadow is still there. The other sphere-like structures here as well. And using shorter wavelengths does seem to bring out some more detail here on the infrared end of the spectrum. And that's that area we just noted. There does seem to be a shadow here and some pattern rising up off the surface here. And the sphere has the same uniform circular structure. It looks like a metal alley or a metal ball of some sort. If you ever played marbles, you know those big marbles. That's what it looks like right there. Perfectly uniform circular pattern. And patterns all over the place. Here as well, these seem to be very intricate designs in here. Are they other types of structures outside of the quote icy environments? And wrapping things up then with these panoramas of Triton, you must admit that it does leave you to imagine what is on Triton. Is it strictly just types of ices or whatnot? And how does that affect the gravity? And could there be other structures on Triton that might not be composed of ice material or whatnot? And could these be created by some very sophisticated planning or whatnot? And Triton just adds to the intrigue of exploring the universe. And until next time, please keep up with your space exploration. Thank you for your time.